All right, we in action.
Con. All right, hey, Shalom Israel. Want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by
Yahweh,
Hashem, Yahweh
Bahashim,
Shai,
Yahweh,
by Hashem
Bahashim,
Rakakwadash.
Kakadash.
Yahweh is who the world ignorantly calls God. Yahweh Shai is his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And there's no God beside them. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone for being faithful witnesses to the Holy Spirit. And Shalom to the elect. And real quick, well, not real quick, but me and a brother wanted to just harp on but just continue the series that the brother has going, going into Simeon and Levi with Shemaiwan and Lawyer. We're going to go into some scriptures and prove through the Spirit how they are uh, who they are today, Salakia. And before I continue, Salaki, let me put my garment on. You got it up.
Um, yeah, yeah. I don't even have my garment or anything like that. It's locked. Damn, all tacky and everything. Shit, but yeah, man. So as we know, Levi, the tribe of Levi, are the so-called Haitians, and this is gonna be like like a because initially I wanted to do each tribe by itself, but Simeon and Levi, they're mentioned together. All right, so I'm gonna just we're gonna do the Northern Kingdom first, but then the Southern Kingdom. But it is what it is. Um, fire it up real quick. And this is really who we are, man. All right, this is really who we are. Here. All right, 12 tribes chart. As you can see here, all right, the 12 tribes chart here. That's the 12 tribes of Israel. On the left, you have the name of the tribes, and on the right, you see where it says here the so-called, and then it gives you different ethnicities. But you see, look at the tribe of Levi. So they're the so-called Haitians, and the tribe of Simeon, and the so-called Dominicans. All right. Now, real quick here, we get Genesis the 29th chapter, and really, I'm gonna start at verse 33. It says, "And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, Because Yahweh hath heard that I was hated, he hath therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simeon." Now, Simeon, you look it up, Strong's H stands for Hebrew, 895, and the Hebrew word is Shemaiwan. And it says Simeon heard, but really, means affliction heard. Because then you hear Shemai means to hear. But really is talking about affliction heard. Okay. And, and then Levi, Genesis 29:34, and she conceived again and bare a son and said, Now this time will my husband be joined unto me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore was his name called Levi. Right? Levi, Strong's H 3878. The Hebrew word is lawyer. All right. And it says Levi joined to, but then the Yah means me. Lawa comes from the root word lawa, which means to join or be joined. All right. And so lawyer meaning join under me. You got something to say out?
Nah.
Come on. But yeah, so Levi, Simeon, this is what the lesson gonna be about, and Lord willing is edifying. When we start Genesis 49 now.
Yeah.
Genesis 49, starting at verse 1. And it says Israel, because Israel's our forefather, the forefather of the people on the 12 tribes chart, which are so-called Black Spanish Americans. Our forefather is Jacob. All right. His name was later changed to Israel, and he had 12 sons. Because each of these tribes, they Judah, for example, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, etc. Right, those names they were actually men, like individuals that had children, and then they had their own tribes, etc. They had their descendants, and then they had their own tribes, etc. All right. Genesis 49, 1. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. And if you don't know already, Hebrews 1 and 1, the last days started when Yahweh Shai was on the scene. So these different accounts of history that we pull up, you know, from the time Yahweh Shai was on the scene all the way up to now is the last days. All right. So these things we read about, and we get, and right now in these times it's considered history, but it's still a part of the last days. Verse 2, gather yourselves together and hear ye sons of Jacob, hearken unto Israel your father. Okay. Now you just chime anytime. It's all good.
Con.
Um, I may tell you that so Jacob told each of his sons what would happen to them in the last days. Let me look at the fall. Strong's 8, really to their descendants, which are us. Strong's 87122. Barbara Ah. And it says to encounter, the fall, meet. To meet, encounter, befall, to meet unexpectedly, they cause to meet. All happened. What would happen to his descendants. So this is where we get that history from, so this is where we get the breakdown. And you can say, I guess you could say history too, you know. And this is how we, know this is another chapter we know to prove who the Israelites are and what tribe.
Yeah. Hey, if I could add too,
Mhm.
when you go into as the brother was going into various as a brother was going into various breakdowns of the different tribes, he always goes into Genesis 49. And when you read through this chapter, it goes to show you that in the last days, the Israelites will also be under the curses. All right,
Right.
and this is why we have to go precept upon precept when we're talking about the tribes, because if you just see Simeon and Levi, you're going to be lost. You have to understand who would that be in the last days, right? So the brothers breaking down uh their attributes, so things they would go through, all right, which again denotes that they would be under the curses. And then also in the curses, it tells us that we would be known as proverbs and bywords,
Right.
right? You got it up. Just wanted to bring that point out too.
Deuteronomy 28:37 says, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whether Yahweh shall lead thee.
Right. So in Deuteronomy 28, it differs in a sense from Genesis 49, because these are general curses, whereas Genesis 49 is as our forefather Jacob, those were specific to the tribes.
Okay. Yep.
And you
Oh, and
go
by
into
the
that
way,
word
it's like
byword,
okay, con. Byword. Strong's H 8148. The Hebrew word is Shan Yana Shanayana. It says sharp word, sharp, cutting word, taunt, jibe.
mm-hmm.
It's up to point
Because
of jibe.
yeah, because as that we shall be a proverb and a byword. Our enemies shall besiege us. That's all. That's all. Being. That's all. Or that's what happened to all of us. So we were besieged. You know, and our people. They speak a bastard tongue. What tribe? what tribe on that list that the brother just showed you speaks? Speaks Hebrew. Not one. They either speak what? Spanish, English, Creole. You
Right.
know.
Yeah. Yep.
patois, which is derivative of English.
Just thinking about that. Yep. Con. You see, and these are all things that link to show that we're the real Israelites, man. Real Hebrew Israelites, not just Israelites. Hebrew Israelites. Some camps would try to make you think. Oh, by the way, I'm here with the brother. Other brother that's speaking. His channel is GMS Watch and Pray. Just shouting it out. So now jumping down to Simeon Levi, right? So now Genesis 49:5. Simeon and Levi are brethren. And now you can break it down. So Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations.
Right now, why does it say Simeon and Levi are brethren? Obviously, they all brethren, but this denotes that they would be close as far as geographically speaking.
Yep. Hold on. Let's see. Getting the map. They're on the island of they both share the same island of Hispaniola, which I found was also called Gascaya, if I'm saying that right. That's what they used to call it. But so you got Haiti on one side and La República Dominicana on the other side. But going back,
Mm-hmm.
Genesis 49:5 continuing, it says instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. Let me get that word, instruments.
Now, instruments of cruelty is the voodoo and the brujeria. Let me see some.
Let me
Which
share
is
your
the same
screen.
shit.
Yeah, give me share your screen or not.
Um, yeah, you could share it. You could shoot. Oh, you could share it too, right? I bet.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. I
fine.
didn't know if you was pulling something up.
Yeah, I was trying to just get into a little bit of that instruments of cruelty.
Con, you got it. It's shared.
Which before we, yeah, you can actually take it back. We could go into those words, instrument of cruelty, and then I'll put it on my screen.
Con. All right.
So lucky.
But this is the word for instruments right here. Strong's H3627. It says collier. All right. And it says article, vessel, implement, utensil, implement, apparatus, vessel, receptacle. So this is actually, an actual like thing. This is referring to something that they actually use. Okay, both Simeon and Levi. Something that they
Mm-hmm.
actually use, and that it says, and it said instruments of cruelty because these ain't instruments of joy. It says are in their habitations. Meaning that the things
Hey,
that
if you
they
think about
do.
it too, what's the instrument? Use.
Yep.
Yep, Salaki about that.
Now you got it. Now you got it.
I was just going to say, you think about what you use for an instrument. Use instrument to call out. So he kind of like calling out for cruelty. You know,
Con.
because normally what's that? That voodoo or that brujeria. You putting bad spells on maybe a person that did you wrong or yeah a person that did you wrong. Which that's against the scriptures, man. It's not the scriptures say you know speaks against what's that scripture about an enchanter of times and things of that nature. Let me see.
Let's see if I can search it up. Um,
Um, it's about divination, I believe.
oh, this is Deuteronomy 18:10.
Deuteronomy
There
18.
shall not be found. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch.
Yep.
And
Now I found it in the
uh,
Salaki.
Now it's all
You get
good.
that
It's
in
just
NLT real quick?
con.
It says tune telling.
NLT, right? Deuteronomy 18:10 in the NLT says, for example, never sacrifice your son or daughter as a burnt offering, and do not let your people practice fortune telling, or use sorcery, or interpret omens, or engage in witchcraft.
So there you go. So again, that goes to show you that our people be doing wickedness in these last days, as our forefather Jacob told his sons.
Yep. If you want to go into the different types,
Oh, you talking about witchcraft? Oh yeah, okay. Perfect timing. So I'm gonna share my screen now. I was already sharing, right?
no, it's going now. Yeah, it's up there now.
All right. So it says I thought it would be separate. Let me look it up. It's voodoo. Oh, now they try to spice it up now. Get the fuck out of here.
I mean,
This
it makes
originated.
sense because I mean, Haitians they don't really speak Spanish like that, you know. And brujeria that just sound like a Spanish, word. You know,
Oh yeah,
Dominicans
that's
don't
true.
speak
You
Spanish.
got voodoo for Haitians and brujeria for fucking Simeon.
Yeah.
Voodoo originated in West Africa, is practiced in Haiti and other Caribbean islands. Witchcraft has roots in ancient Mesopotamia and classical antiquity in Europe. It's that's true. When you go into the scriptures, that's why the Lord told us. The Lord the Lord gave us laws to tell us to be different. The laws that the Lord gave us, it pretty much made us different from those nations around us that was practicing that voodoo and that witchcraft. That's why the Lord told us not to do it. We're a special people. Um, this is brujeria as a term for the witchcraft. Okay. And voodoo practices in Latin America and Caribbean cultures, which are a combination of African, indigenous, and Catholic traditions. Roots, brujeria. Let's see.
Might try. I gotta type in what witchcraft do Dominicans use?
Oh, look, that's the spirit. Look, witchcraft in Latin America.
Uh,
So brujeria is a syncretic Latin American tradition that combines indigenous religious, and other magical practices with sometimes roots of Catholicism. It also has African and European roots, as the majority of Latin American usually comes from Europe and indigenous and African ancestry. You said that already. Let's see.
oh, you might, different countries. Yeah, you mind if I show something real quick and switch right back?
Yeah, you got it.
Because as it went into instruments of cruelty, right, I just typed in what a brother was looking it up. What do Haitians use for voodoo? Now it says Haitians use a variety of items and practices in their voodoo rituals, including drums. Three drummers play syncopated rhythms. Cornmeal used to draw sacred symbols in the dust. Rum poured on the ground to honor spirits. Animals, edible animals like chickens and goats, which goats were used, back in the wilderness, were doing animal sacrifice. It says are sacrificed, see, in significant rituals. Jatropha, a shrub that is used in ritual baths to purge evil spirits or bring good luck. Altar, a place where the living can worship their whatever that is and contact the divine. And Veve, geometrical drawings that represent the Iwa spirits. All right. So, you know, they do that. And when the brother was searching it up, right? I typed in did you find it or I gotta type this in?
Nah, yeah, I'm still looking into it.
So I typed in what witchcraft do Dominicans use, right? And so I'm just read this a little bit. It says Dominicans primarily practice a form of witchcraft called Dominican voodoo, or Las 21 Divisiones, meaning the 21 divisions, which is a syncretic religion blending African Caribbean beliefs with Catholicism, often involving practices like spirit communication with mysterios. This is all wicked, okay, as we just read in Deuteronomy. It says powerful intermediaries through rituals and offerings to achieve desired outcomes like healing or success in life. All right. Um, it says, well, here ritualistic practice may involve offerings, drumming, dancing, and the use of sacred objects like the maraca. And this is part of that. All right, but it says Dominican voodoo is practiced through a maraca, which means rattle lineage. In Haiti, voodoo has come about and become more popular through another lineage known as the Asan. However, before the Asan, the Chacha lineage was a prominent lineage in Haiti. Now, had the right. What is the Dominican version of voodoo? And the people also ask. Listen to this. This practice of voodoo is known as Las 21 Divisiones or Dominican voodoo. This form of voodoo is accepted by Dominicans. Dominicans have modified the voodoo religion and identified it as Las 21 Divisiones. Here's the point. In order to make it Dominicans' own and not the same as Haiti, because Dominicans do not like Haiti. See? So it is
Wow.
it just goes to show, which we're gonna get into in a minute. All right, but you know that just they have that, they have that type of food. They have Dominicans have that. They have Santeria as well. Santeria, that's how you say it. All right, and the scriptures say, um, Exodus chapter 22 verse 18, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Okay, see, in the ancient world, this type of stuff would have got dealt with, right? But now, can't enact this currently. But just going to show you that it's off. You're not supposed to be, doing that. All right, not supposed to be doing it. Witchcraft. Okay. Even now, like people, if you're going to see a fortune teller, whatever, man, stop doing that shit, man. All right, that's wicked. Okay, going to a
And you
fortune,
know what?
huh?
As I travel to and fro when I'm going through particular neighborhoods, normally where I see the botanicas is in so-called Haitian, his Dominican, or black neighborhoods.
See, see, and that ain't by no coincidence, man. You know, that's not by no coincidence. You know,
Yeah, did you read that part? You was reading from the Wikipedia, right, on the characteristics of Dominican voodoo.
that was on online. What part? Oh, up here.
Let me see. So I can. Oh no, I was on Wikipedia.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna take it. You can send it back.
Con. All right, you got it.
Yeah, so it says Dominican voodoo is practiced through a cha-cha maraca, which means rattle, lineage. In Haiti, voodoo has come about and become more popular through another lineage known as Asan. However, before the Asan, the cha-cha lineage was a prominent lineage in Haiti. Thus, the cha-cha lineage is one of the oldest lineages within the voodoo tradition all over the island. Dominican voodoo practitioners are often called caballos, brujos, servidores, but they are also known as papabocos and papalao, and mama mambos and mama lao. One who has obtained this title has gone through the last and highest level of initiation, which can take anywhere between 3 and 9 days and nights, as well as have spent a time working in the community. Okay. However, like the brother mentioned, all this shit is wickedness, and it's just to again drive home the point that instruments of cruelty.
Con. And it said all over the island, and the scripture said instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. You know, see at the end of that first paragraph, it said that. That is that. So see, the scriptures is on point, and somebody might say, "Well, I mean, they do witchcraft in other places." Well, we gonna see once we you gonna understand that this is specifically talking about them when we get further into it. All right, because it has to link up with everything. You know, you have some more.
Mm, nah, let me see. I just want to look up that term they use, papa vocals. What the hell is that?
So it's like, I mean, here it is this day and age now that it's 2024, man. There's no reason you shouldn't know that you're an Israelite. Okay, if you are one, you know, shouldn't
Look at this shit up.
well, they got a whole book on it. That's crazy.
You see that? Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy. Las 21 divisiones.
I mean, the point was made on that. Unless you had something else that you wanted to bring out.
Nah, just get back to it.
Oh, hold up. Actually, no, that was it. Because the next point, yeah, what's the? Yeah, we could get back to it. So like,
All right, calm. And by the way, just bringing some out real quick. Kiskea, because just breaking his points is said because the thing is, it said on the there was brethren in that verse, so just dealing with it like verse by verse. Kiskea, it says here, Kiskea or Kiskea may refer to see Kiskea term of Taino origin used to refer to the island of Hispaniola, which is modern day Dominican Republic and Haiti. Moving forward, just wanted to bring that out. Back in Genesis 49 and 5 again. So we understand this. Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. Verse 6. O my soul, come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly, mine honor. Be not thou united.
there you go. Now, I want to go back to. Well, I want to go into this little bit of history between DR and Haiti, going into the point of them not being united.
Oh,
Where was that? Salakia?
Real quick, that word united, Strong's H3161. The Hebrew word here is yachad. Says to join, unite, be joined, be united, to be or become one, join. It's a root word. So yeah. Says to be joined, united together. All right.
Mm-hmm. And mind you, how is it that you're on the same island but you're still not united?
Right.
Again, going to show you that the Lord's words rule supreme.
Right. You,
Um,
want, you wanted to share some?
yeah, I want to show brothers this. Where's the point? It's locked here.
Kind of sharing.
So it says, "Be not thou united." Wait, hold up. Bear with me out here.
There you go.
All right, here we go. Dominican Republic and Haiti relations are the diplomatic relations between the nations of Dominican Republic and Haiti. Relations have long been hostile due to substantial ethnic and cultural differences, historic conflicts, territorial disputes, and sharing the island of Hispaniola, part of the Greater Antilles archipelago in the Caribbean region. The living standards in the Dominican Republic are considerably higher than those in Haiti.
Hmm.
All right, yada yada. Jump down. The island of Hispaniola was the site of the first permanent European settlement in the Americas. The Captaincy General of Santo Domingo, established in 1493 by Spain, the Spanish emperor controlled the entire island from the 1490s until the 17th century. Due to its strategic location, British and French pirates began establishing bases on the western side of the island, right? Which these are Edomites. Good to note that because according to the scriptures, it says how the thief will come but to steal, kill, and destroy. All right. So every time Esau would come to colonize the land, just as he does today, all
Mm-hmm.
right, he would leave it worst off. And as we read and we see, what the hell?
Whatever it was, it didn't show.
It's still showing my page.
Yeah, yeah. I'm saying whatever. Like if it was a pop up, that it didn't show. We good.
All right,
Let's
it's a
do.
lot
Let's
about that. It
continue
says
some.
battles begin during colonial times and developed into constant conflicts between the European powers. Eventually, the island was divided in 1697, with Spain controlling the eastern side and France controlling the western side. And mind you, according to the scriptures, as the brother read, was that Deuteronomy 28 and
Oh, but
uh
byword.
no, not a byword. What's the? It says they should get above thee very high, now shall come very low.
Oh, yeah, I could
Even
just.
though our people was there before, it's prophesied that our enemies would come and pretty much stand in our place.
Real quick. This is Deuteronomy 28 and
43.
starting verse 43. Come on. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall
Right.
live. Okay, come.
So when you look at this, you see the British, the French, and of course the Spanish. They got above our people very high. That's why we speak their language and they didn't speak ours when it's all said and done. Okay. So it says eventually the island was divided in 1697, with Spain controlling the eastern side and France controlling the western side. The distinction between the colonies was accentuated by different settlement patterns. Spain developed a settler-based society with a white and mixed race majority, while the French brought masses of African slaves to their side of the island. France, this is why in DR you have a mix of color, or a mixed complexion of people, whereas in Haiti, it's mainly just a darker. I mean, you have some lighter skin, but for the majority, it's darker hue people. So it says France imported nearly 10 times as many slaves, creating a divergent population in their colony. These historical events led to Dominicans and Haitians becoming culturally and ethnically different
Ethnic.
groups.
Come
All right. So again, you know, the Lord, the Lord words coming to pass. During the
Yep.
start of the 19th century, Haiti became independent from France after a series of slave revolts in 1804. Afterwards, the Spanish colony of Santo Domingo, the predecessor of the Dominican Republic, also became independent from Spain in 1821 after more than 300 years of Spanish control. Thus, since 1804, many wars, massacres, border disputes, and standoffs have occurred between the two countries. Haiti would eventually become the poorest country in the region, while the Dominican Republic developed into one of the largest economies of Latin America. In the 21st century, it says in the 21st century, and keep that in mind too, because we're gonna go into this. Why did Haiti become so poor, and the DR become more flourishing? That's also prophesied. In the 21st century, illegal Haitian immigration into the Dominican Republic ensured tensions remain high. Many Haitian migrants migrate due to extreme poverty and political unrest in their country. You could always chime in whenever you want.
Kind. It was going into how pretty. I mean, it's an ethnically and cultural difference. It just shows once again. Be not thou united. They don't. So-called Haitians and Dominicans don't get along. And me and this brother personally, we have a first-hand experience. Of actually being on that island. You know, and I remember uh one of the tour guides was talking with this brother here, and they were saying like remember they were saying something about how they allow the Haitians to come into DR and work, but they don't really like get along too much or something like that.
Yep, I remember that perfectly.
Yeah, that's part of the scriptures. Be not thou united. You see, and then we just read in the voodoo part. It talked about um it talked about how uh Salaki. It talked about how the they called they tried to make they pretty much came up with their own type of voodoo name so it could be different from the Haitians because they don't like each other, you know. So it just shows that be not thou united and all of this. You got it.
Hey, real quick, there's actually a river that divides the DR and Haiti, and this river, not so coincidentally, is known as the Massacre River. So this goes to show you that it's literally blood. I mean, not literally, but it's a iconic river that divides the two. That's called the Massacre River. It's the river that forms the northern border between the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Let's see. The river has been the source of a dispute between the two countries for a long time. The name Massacre River comes from the Spanish settlers who killed French buccaneers in the 1720s. The river has also been the site of other massacres, including the Parsley Massacre in 1935, when Dominican troops killed or forced to flee an estimated 14 to 40,000 Haitians. So there you go. The river's water source are vital for both countries, and the OAS General Secretarial Secretary, Secretariat has called for a negotiated um has called for a negotiated solution. However, the Dominican Foreign Ministry has responded that the river is part of Dominican territory. Boundaries based on national features like rivers can be problematic. All right, that was the point there.
Damn, but it said Dominican troops killed or forced to flee an estimated 14 to 40,000. That's damn.
Right,
Damn.
and AI, you talking about at least 135 years later? Because you said it said 19 that massacre was in 1935. When we go back here, it says I believe what is it? What was that? I think this is something like eight. Was it 18?
You know, I mean, how do the scriptures lie, man? You can't point out one time the scriptures ain't lie. I mean, it's like you can't point out one time the scriptures lied. You can't, you know. And people normally, the people like Jake, that's not a part of the truth. They live this stuff day to day, but they don't understand that this is all part of the Lord's movie. This is literally prophecy, and it's one of the things that point out, um, you know, who we are as a people. Okay, but Jake lived this stuff day to day. All right.
Oh
Remember,
shoot, lucky. My bad.
nigga,
Now you can finish your point. My fault. My fault.
yeah, I'm gonna say being on the island and stuff like that, man. You know, I mean, you could bring out if you want. Remember that lady you was telling me about on the tour?
Which one? Oh yeah, yeah. Well, so me and his brother was on a tour, and the tour guide was talking to one of the Dominican workers, and he came back and told us that she literally said that she never seen a black guy before. Meanwhile, where we were, it was a bunch of dark skinned Dominicans.
Right.
Because in their minds, I was literally, I was telling the brother, I was just talking to a Simeonite about this. She was telling me how Dominicans really believe that they are they believe that everything under the sun but black.
See, yep.
So this as a matter of fact, I can play this, which you
I
brothers can
do.
check this out. But I just want to bring this point out where it says be not thou united. Now it's a lot of good points here. But we'll be here all day going through all these points. Point was pretty much made. So I'll just go straight to this one.
Yeah, do you want me to play it? Cause remember a sound. I mean, you could try. It might work
Oh
out.
yeah, yeah. Hold on, let me see if it goes.
Nah, it's not playing.
No sound? Still no
Nah,
sound?
maybe the subtitles will come on. Try that.
Shit, now you can just
CC
put it on
option.
yours.
Okay, come.
You
I'll
could go
switch
to
it back.
like 7:15, something like that.
I'll switch it back up.
7:10. You start like 7:10. 7:10.
Be black. How did you learn? Well, I went to New York as most Dominicans, and all of a sudden I felt that my roots were in Africa, not in Spain, like here. Even today, everybody said the motherland here is Spain.
So who's black in Dominican society? In America, all these people would be black. But here, who's black?
Well,
Negro. Who's Negro?
I think nobody's Negro here. If we are told you are black, oh no, I'm not black. I am something else. Dominicans are in complete denial of who they are. Look at this. For Dominicans, this represents African heritage, sambos. This is not nothing but sambos. So that explains why people, the way they portray Africans, why a kid would not say, I am African, because that's what they give you, that's what they show you.
Yeah, that was good on that,
That's crazy.
Yep. I mean, like I said, the title speaks for itself, the roots of the vision.
Yep. Yep.
And this is the real roots of the division. we giving it to you right here in the scriptures.
Hell yeah. You want to switch it back?
Yeah, just want to grab this quick point, then you got it up.
Come on. You got it.
All right, so um, at the point I was making before of the island was split. Let's give it the 1700s, right? So 130 something years later, there was still massacres going on, as we have brought, as I've seen, as we read before, the Parsley massacre. Well, no, 235 years later, and even to this very day, you might say, well, that clip we played was 7 years ago. Well, me and a brother had firsthand experience,
Right.
as and I was just literally speaking with Simeon, and she was telling me that is like that to this very day, right? So these things are, I mean, we in the last days, but these things are live in effect right now. Is the point I'm trying to get at. So it says there are many cultural differences between Haiti and Dominican Republic, including language barriers, cultural practices, and more. This place makes a dual linguistic heritage of Hispaniola. In 1697, Hispaniola had dual cultures, right? So, I mean, the point was pretty much made, Like the Lord said, be thou not united. And to this very day, that still stands. That's why we need, Yahushai coming with the sure mercies of David to unite the tribes once more.
Yep. Yep. Let me see it.
But you got it back. We was at Genesis 49 and what was it 6? Or
Come on. Yeah, did you read this part already? How they separated the Republic and Haiti?
Haiti. Did I read that?
I think you did in that last part above history on Wikipedia.
Yeah. Let me see. Did I go that far down?
Like it was at the top. It was the last
Oh yeah,
paragraph.
okay.
Come on.
Wars of
Yeah.
Independence, right?
Yeah, you read that.
Okay, yeah, that was that.
Come on. But back here, Genesis 49:6. O my soul, come not thou unto their secret, unto their assembly at witchcraft. My honor, be not thou united. And we just went into how they're not united. They're not united. Uh, literally, okay. They don't get along. You know, they they also have a river that literally separates them, man. The government um declared the DR declared independence from Haiti. It just shows that separation be not that united. But see, in the kingdom, let me get a quick precept. In the kingdom, right? Just well, you know what? I'll just leave it. I won't with that. But let me just say, in the kingdom, right? Um, all the tribes ain't gonna be no more division like that no more. See, everybody's gonna get along. Actually, as the scriptures say, all right, it says Leviticus chapter 19. Um, okay, Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 18 says, "Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself." So you're not supposed. So pretty much, we're gonna get along in the kingdom because we're gonna have the law, statutes, and commandments in our inward part. You see, as to where right now our eye is evil against our brother. It tells you Deuteronomy 28. All right, but you know we're going to switch it up real soon. But Genesis 49:6 continuing on. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they digged down a wall. Okay. And this goes back once again. The tribes of Simeon and Levi, before they were tribes, you actually had sons that were named Simeon and another son named Levi. Okay, and they're two of the 12 patriarchs. Okay, and they when in the time when they were in their incarnation as Levi and Simeon, you know they were let me get that account. What's it in Genesis 35?
Genesis 34. I think it's
Genesis
around
30.
like 25, probably a little before.
Yep, yeah. It's Genesis 34 and uh, so I'll get to the point. Genesis 34, starting verse 25. It says, "And it came to pass on the third day, when they were saw that two of the sons of Jacob, see, these two patriarchs specifically, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brethren, took each man his sword, and came upon the city boldly, and slew all the males. And they slew Hamor and Shechem his son with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house and went out. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain, and spoiled the city because they had defiled their sister. They took their sheep and their oxen and their asses, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field, and all their wealth, and all their little ones, and their wives took they captive, and spoiled even all that was in the house." Verse 30. And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, "Ye have troubled me to make me to stink. Yes, like ye have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and I being few in number. They shall gather themselves together against me and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house." And they said, "Shall he deal with our sister as with a brother?" You know, Jacob was like, "Look, we little right now. You causing ruckus, man. Y'all gotta chill out. You got too much dip on your chip. Y'all going over here doing all this extra stuff. Y'all gotta chill out." But it just goes to show, man, that in this, you know, man, this was a very, let me say, harsh display of anger right here. You know, let me
Mm-hmm.
just, all right, because it says they slew all the males. They came upon the city boldly. You know, they took the sheep, the oxen, the asses, which was in the city and in the field, and their wealth, and the little ones, and their wives, and all that was in the house. So they went for broke. you know, they going for broke. You ever seen somebody clean their plate and somebody say you going for broke? Oh, they went for broke right here, man. You know.
He said, "Fuck that, pops. He ain't gonna let me go. He ain't gonna get that one off."
Right. Yep. Oh man, but this is what it was referring to in Genesis 49 when it says, uh, where is it? Cursed be that. It's like it. For in that anger they slew a man, and in themselves will they dig down the wall. All right. Now I'm going to read the next verse 7. And I you got it. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath it was cruel.
Yeah, because and when you read the account, what they did was it was like, "All right, bet you want to be one of us, circumcise yourself." And then they told them to circumcise themselves. Um, Simeon and Levi, they was talking to who was it, the Hamites at the time. They told them to circumcise themselves, and when they were sore, because as a man, when you circumcise yourself, you weak. They slew them. And that's where the account goes into. In their anger, they slew him, as the brother just read in Genesis 34.
Yeah, they was having a bad day that day. Yeah, real bad day. But like even now, I know this brother be mentioning it a lot because even now you see so-called Haitians and Dominicans, they have very fierce anger, man. You know, they're very they can their anger is really fierce. A minor example is how me and his brother when we was over there in that island, You know, bro, you remember how the people was driving out there and they was honking at each other nonstop?
Hell yeah.
You would be, if you never been to the island before and see how they drive, you'd be surprised because it ain't like over here in America where maybe right now and then somebody jump in front of you. They jump. That's how they drive, jump in front of you. You know, and they was
It's a
honking. It
free
was going
fall.
crazy. You said what?
I said it's a free fall.
Yeah, man. You know, but just in general, you know, Levi and Simeon are said to have fierce anger. You know, it shows in the literal people of these two tribes here. Okay, now it says, "I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel." All right, because here, right, this is the book of Numbers 35, starting at verse 1. It says, "Cities for the Levites." And Yahweh spake unto Moses in the plains of Moab by Jordan near Jericho, saying, Command the children of Israel that they give unto the Levites. And by the way, Moses, you know, you hear about Moses in the Bible, he was a Levite. Okay. It says, you got that scripture in Exodus 2 about Moses being a Levite. It's in Exodus 2 somewhere. But
Exodus 2. Let me see.
Numbers 35 and 2 says, Command the children of Israel that they give unto the Levites of the inheritance of their possessions. It's like unto the Levites of the inheritance of their possessions, cities to dwell in. And ye shall give also unto the Levites suburbs for the cities round about them. In the cities shall they have to dwell in, and the suburbs of them shall be for their cattle, for their goods, for all their beasts. And the suburbs of the cities which ye shall give unto the Levites shall reach from the wall of the city and outward 1,000 cubits round about. And ye shall measure from without the city on the east side 2,000 cubits, on the south side 2,000 cubits, on the west side 2,000 cubits, on the north side 2,000 cubits, and the city shall be in the midst. This shall be to them the suburbs of the cities. Right. So, because Levi, when you look at a map of Israel, you see Levi, right? They didn't have you know, literal territory like Gad, Reuben, Judah, Simeon, Manasseh, Ephraim, Benjamin, Issachar, etc. You won't see a portion of land allotted to Levi. Okay, because the Lord, you know, which we're gonna get into later, but the Lord uh gave them the suburbs, you know, within the land to dwell in. You had you got it.
Oh yeah, you talking about Exodus 2?
Yeah, about Moses.
Yeah, I got you. Hold up 1 second.
You know, and it's something because you know, leave it to this devil. You know, he portrayed, you know, that movie Ten Commandments. He portrays Esau being it's like he portrays Moses, the Israelites, etc., being so-called white people, and that's really not the case. It tells you how Moses was mistaken for an Egyptian, which the original Egyptians are so-called black. You know, and
Exodus,
you got it.
Exodus 2 verse 1. And there went out a man of the house of Levi and took to wife a daughter of Levi, and the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could not longer hide him, she looked for him. She took him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, and daubed it with slime, with pitch, and put the child therein, and she laid it in the flags by the river's banks. And his sister stood afar off to wit what he done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the riversides. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it.
Uh,
Jumping
you know,
down.
so Moses was of the tribe of Levi. Now there's Slocky. There's a certain scripture. Let me just share the screen real quick. Uh, actually, you got it. I got look for a scripture. It's in Wisdom of Solomon. Uh, okay, I got it. This is Wisdom of Solomon, right? Chapter 18, starting in verse 1. It says, nevertheless, thy saints had a very great light. This is another scripture showing you that the saints of the Israelites. It says, whose voice they hearing and not seeing their shape, because they also had not suffered the same things, they counted them happy. But for that they did not hurt them now, of whom they had been wrong before. They thanked them and besought them pardon, for that they had been enemies. Verse 3, instead whereof thou gavest them a burning pillar of fire, both to be a guide of the unknown journey, and a harmless sun to entertain them honorably, which is talking about the chariot. For they were worthy to be deprived of light and imprisoned in darkness. It's going into the Egyptians and the Israelites. It says, who had kept thy sons, whose sons? The Lord. Talking about the Lord's son, talking about Israel. Shut up. All right. Meaning they enslaved us, by whom the Egyptians enslaved us, by whom the uncorrupt light of the law was to be given unto the world of Israel. Verse 5. And when they had determined, here's the point. And when they had determined to slay the babes of the saints, see, one child being cast forth and saved to reprove them, talking about Moses, thou tookest away the multitude of their children and destroyest them altogether in the mighty water. So Moses was that child that was cast forth, right? He's of the tribe of Levi. You read about the Exodus and everything. Moses, a Levite is the one that had led us out of the wilderness, that the Lord was dealing with directly. Okay. But just wanted to bring that point out on that. All right. You got something else, or you want to jump around?
Yeah. Back at Exodus 2 and verse 5, right? The brother broke down the history. And the daughters of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the baby wept. And she had compassion on him and said, this is one of the Hebrews' children. Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew woman, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, take this child away and nurse it for me. I will give thee the wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses, and she said, because I drew him out of the water.
Yep. I believe Moses means like in Hebrew mashah, but it's like drawn, I believe. I believe so. Mashah, I believe means drawn. Because you want to go straight to Deuteronomy 33?
Yeah, yup. It means drawn, mashah. Yeah, but that was it on Genesis 49. We could jump to Deuteronomy 33.
And you see, because once again I was going to do this lesson where it was both, like I was trying to do one tribe at a time, but Simeon and Levi, see the scriptures mentions them together. All right. And it's the spirit, like once again, bro, because you know how you talk about Asher and then Naphtali. They are around each other. Gad and Reuben are around each other. Ephraim and Manasseh are around each other. Okay. Simeon and Levi. Like, come on, man. Issachar and Zebulon. There's some certain. It's like it's just spiritual, you know. How it's just like they're around each other, right? And you know that we're all the same people because just look at the way we react alike. So you don't see a so-called white man walking around with a fitted cap and ripped jeans, but you'll see a so-called Issacharite do that. All right, see a so-called Haitian do that. Jordans or something like that. You know, we all use slang. All right. This is Deuteronomy 33. And it says the blessing of Moses. All right. It says, starting verse 4, Moses commanded us a law, even the inheritance of the congregation of Jacob. And he was king in Jeshurun. So Moses was the first king over Israel. Jeshurun is another name for Israel. When the heads of the people and the tribes of Israel were gathered together. So then from then he began to bless the tribes. Now let's jump down to Levi, verse 8. It says, and of Levi he said, let thy Thummim and thy Urim be with thy Holy One. Thummim and Urim in the Hebrew, the Mayim, and Urim, a Warium. A Warium meaning lights. I believe the Mayim meaning sincerity. Something like that. It says, be with thy Holy One whom thou didst prove at Massah, and with whom thou didst strive with the waters of Meribah. Now you could break this next verse down. I know you have mentioned it before. It said, who said unto his father and to his mother, I have not seen him, neither did he acknowledge his brethren, nor knew his own children, for they have observed thy word and kept thy covenant.
Neither did he acknowledge his brethren, meaning that Levites pretty much only acknowledge other Levites. You know, it says, yo, I have not seen him, neither did he acknowledge his brethren. Right, pretty much Levi only acknowledge other Levites. You know, it's like it's that tribal pride that Jake got, man. You know, just like Simeon. But I mean, of course, it's talking about Levi, Salakia.
Verse 10, it says, they shall teach Jacob thy judgments, and Israel thy law. They shall put incense before thee, and hold burnt sacrifice upon thine altar. You know, and real quick, I got here in Numbers. Wait on 1 second, because this is part of this is what Levi used to be back in the ancient world. It's like this is what Levi used to be back in the ancient world. Numbers, man. Numbers chapter 18, starting in verse 20. And it says, and Yahweh spake unto Aaron, thou shalt have no inheritance in their land, neither shalt thou have any part among them. I am thy part and thine inheritance among the children of Israel. You see, they didn't have a plot of land. Verse 21, and behold, I have given the children of Levi all the tenth in Israel for an inheritance, for their service which they serve, even the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. All right.
And where it says, I am thy part and thine inheritance, remember, Levi means joined to me. Right? So in a physical aspect, when Levi was born, who was a Leah, she said she pretty much slept with her husband 3 times, and that's what made them join together, because sex is, or marriage is sex. Vice versa, sex is marriage, marriage is sex. That's how they join together. But on a spiritual aspects, Levi is joined to the Heavenly Father. The Lord is their inheritance. They didn't have a physical inheritance, right? They were meant to carry out the various Sabbath, the various Sabbaths. You know what I'm saying? They were to carry out the various peace offerings and things of that nature.
Yep. Verse 21, it says, I read that part. In verse 22, neither must the children of Israel henceforth come nigh the tabernacle of the congregation, lest they bear sin and die. But the Levites shall do the service to the tabernacle of the congregation, and they shall bear their iniquity. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations, that among the children of Israel they have no inheritance. But the tithes of the children of Israel, which they offer as an heave offering unto Yahweh, I have given to the Levites to inherit. Therefore I have said unto them, among the children of Israel they shall have no inheritance. You see, they didn't have a plot of land, but it was saying they was, from the law. You had a precept for that?
Oh, about oh,
I
based
know you
upon
have referenced Malachi 2 or something like that.
oh yeah. But that was more so pretty much going into how Levi will be cursed.
Oh, okay, come on.
So we could bring that out afterwards. Yeah, bring out Deuteronomy 33.
So Deuteronomy 18, real quick. Just a little more, trying to get real quick on this. Man, it's gonna see. Just popping them out of nowhere. Barely ever seen that. Like, fuck. But anyways, Deuteronomy 18, starting in verse 1. The priests of the Levites and all the tribe of Levi shall have no part nor inheritance. They shall eat the offerings of Yahweh made by fire. As it said, they shall put incense before thee and whole burnt sacrifice upon the altar. As for because you were reading Exodus, I have the scriptures here. I'll just read it real quick. Like in Exodus, right? No, like in Leviticus, it would tell you, right? For example, this Leviticus 1, uh, starting in verse 2. Speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, if any man of you bring an offering unto Yahweh, ye shall bring your offering of the cattle, even of the herd and of the flock. If his offering be a burnt sacrifice of the herd, let him offer a male without blemish. He shall offer it of his own voluntary will at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before Yahweh. And he shall put his hand upon the head of the burnt offering, and it shall be accepted for him to make atonement for him. And we just read, Levi was dealing with the tabernacle. So Levi is the one that, as it says in Deuteronomy 33 again, um, they shall put incense before thee and whole burnt sacrifice upon the altar. All right. So they was the one dealing with this back in the ancient world. See? Verse 2, therefore shall they have no inheritance among their brethren, yet the Lord is their inheritance, as he has said unto them. Real quick too, right? I read the one in Numbers 35 and had another one in Joshua, right? So if you got something, you could just bring it out if you want. Okay, come on. Real quick. I'm gonna read through this fast. Joshua chapter 13, verse 14. Getting the meat off the bone. Says, only unto the tribe of Levi he gave an inheritance of sacrifices of Yahweh, power of Israel made by fire are their inheritance, as he said unto them. Jumping down to verse 33. All right, it's just repetitive right there. Let me just see what the next part says in 14, verses 3 and 4. Okay. For Moses had given the inheritance of 2 tribes and a half tribe on the other side of Jordan, but unto the Levites he gave none inheritance among them. For the children of Joseph were 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim. This proves, just side note, sometimes when you see Joseph, it's referring to Ephraim as well. It's not literally saying it's a tribe of Joseph, but it says, therefore they gave no part unto the Levites in the land, save cities to dwell in with their suburbs for their cattle and for their substance. All right. And that was that on that. You got something?
Nah, you got it up.
You wanted to bring that Malachi 2 out? Or nah?
It says that was it, right, on Deuteronomy 33.
We had the one with verse 11 left.
It says, "A blessed substance, except the work of his hands, smite to the loins of them that fight against him." Yeah, that was that. All right, you could jump to Malachi 2.
Malachi chapter 2. What specific verse?
You start at the top.
Malachi chapter 2, starting in verse 1. And now, O ye priests, this commandment is for you. If you will not hear, it's like if you will not hear, and if you will not lay it to heart to give glory unto my name, saith Yahweh of hosts, I will even send a curse upon you, and I will curse your blessings. Yea, I have cursed them already, because ye do not lay it to heart. Behold, I will corrupt your seed and spread dung upon your faces, even the dung of your solemn feasts, and one shall take you away with it.
Right now, it's important to note that for one, why is it that both Simeon and Levi, they both practice voodoo? However, um, the Haitians, they're the ones that suffer the most because again, they are the priests of the Lord, and they have more of a they are joined to the Lord, you know. So they have more of a punishment as that's concerned. That's why I had the brother read Malachi 2, and then we read before in the Wikipedia, was that part where it said how pretty much Haiti is pretty much like the poorest country in that um, portion of the Caribbean, whereas
Mm-hmm.
DR is flourishing. Even to this day, people want to go more to DR than Haiti.
Oh
I seen
man,
something earlier. They was talking about how another plane got shot down in Haiti.
damn,
So it's bad over there. But yeah,
damn,
the brother's reading the judgment of the Levites.
damn, damn. Come
Yep.
but
You can read down to verse 7 up.
okay, come. Verse 3 again. Behold, I will corrupt your seed and spread dung upon your faces, even the dung of your solemn feast, and one shall take you away with it. And ye shall know that I have sent this commandment unto you, that my covenant might be with Levi, saith Yahweh of hosts. My covenant was with him of life and peace, and I gave them to him for the fear wherewith he feared me, and was afraid before my name. The law of truth was in his mouth, and iniquity was not found in his lips. He walked with me in peace and equity, and did turn many away from iniquity. For the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and they should seek the law at his mouth, for he is the messenger of Yahweh of hosts.
Now it says, they should the Lord shall spread dung over them. Was that part you read in was that verse 2 or 3?
3. Behold, I will corrupt your seed and spread dung upon your faces, even the dung of your solemn feasts, and one shall take you away with it.
Yep. And when you go into all right, I was trying to look it up. They say dirt. It says Haitians eating dirt cake.
I'm gonna share the screen.
So let me go into that word.
It's sharing.
This dung is like shit, right?
Yeah.
In the Bible. Let me see some.
Remember in Ezekiel 4, I believe, it says dung.
Yeah, you should be.
Let's see.
Yeah, dung is shit. Or
Yeah,
rush.
there you go. It's the spirit.
Fecal matter, dung, offal.
I got another one in Ezekiel 4, just to back the point up. 4 and 15 for that word dung. The Hebrew word is tazah, taza, y, and it says dung of cattle manure. Just point being, like manure, shit, you know.
All right, now they don't want to show it.
Might gotta get images.
On
They
the,
call it
on the dung cake.
like mud cakes. That's a crazy name too. Mud, oh man.
They saying, because I was looking it up, they saying it's actually mud, but hold up.
Nah, because Apostle
I got it
Tahar
right
was
here.
saying, like, yeah.
Oh, what Apostle say?
I'm just saying, like it's a mixture of shit, piss, and all that.
It says, yes, some poor Haitians eat mud cakes, also known as bobonte, to stave off hunger.
Damn.
All right.
Oh
It says,
nah.
people in Haiti who are
Oh,
extremely poor eat mud cakes or drink boiled salt water to survive.
I said mud cookie. Oh nah, man. Oh nah. Oh
Traditional
nah.
remedy for hunger. These cookies are made from a combination of dirt, salt, vegetable shortening, or butter.
Yeah, all right.
The clay in the cookies contain minerals like calcium, but it can also contain toxins and germs.
Yeah, I
And you
wonder
know,
why.
Haiti is actually a very it's like rich in resources. So why is it so effed up?
Right. Oh
You
man,
know, we're
that's
reading it.
whoo. Look, there you go. It's a picture to the far right, I believe. Oh, come on. You know, this is a sad. Um, you know, it's a sad condition our people is in, man. Just all over the board, we messed up. You know, all over the board. Why is it that these specific people, not just Levi, but just Jake? Why is Jake messed up like this? Why are the so-called Black Hispanic Native Americans messed up? You know, why? What's the reason these people are always on the bottom? Why are they so down looked upon? Because we the Israelites, you know.
Exactly. Our people are the most talented, the most lively. They live in beautiful, the places where Jake lives is very nice, very rich in resources. Hell, you Puerto Rico's called rich port. So why are you living, why you living and begging for handouts? We're reading it now,
Right.
you know. The scriptures say, again, going back to Deuteronomy 28, how these pretty much it should be a sign. These curses shall be a sign. Let me see if I can find that one.
Uh, Deuteronomy 28,
Where that's at, man. No, it's like
40,
30,
46.
43 or something. 46.
Deuteronomy 28, 46. And you can start 45 though too.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 45. Come on, man. Don't be like that. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy God. So again, was it 1697? Yeah, the land had broke up in 1697, all the way to what 19 was it say 35? There was a massacre with 40,000. The Dominicans killed 40,000 Haitians,
Mhm.
right? And even to this day, is overtaking us, right? Unless the spirit of the Lord is on you, you hate your brother. So it says, "So thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee." And you have, as a side note, which again is very important,
Oh shit. Hey, y'all. Oh fuck.
huh?
Oh, so just repeat what you said. It cut out.
It's back now.
Yeah, it just the part where you had said just repeat what you had just said.
Oh, I was saying that these curses is overtaking us to this very day. You had the example I brought out earlier, where back in 1697, all right, and you have what 200 plus years later, it was a huge massacre on that was it the Massacre River where 40,000 Haitians were massacred by the Dominicans, and even to this day, you know, our people are killing our people are killing each other. I brought out well, I was thinking of a point where you go to DR, you go to Jamaica, you go to any north any place where Jake lived, and why is the heathen flourishing, you know, in your country?
Right. I remember it.
The point I wanted to grab was 46, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. All right, and that's high. That's a real sign and a wonder. Again, you have two people on the same island, right, on the same plot of land, basically two neighbors that hate each other's guts, very divided. Both dark skinned, both hated by the so-called white man, both have similar histories of being destroyed and plundered by the so-called white man. You would think that would be something that would bring us together, but it's
Yeah.
quite the opposite. And if you ain't had none now, you could finish up on that Malachi 2.
Con. I wanted to say too, because as you was reading that and stuff, and then it said, "Upon thy seed forever." It's like you would think, over years and stuff, this stuff would die down, but why hasn't it? Because this curse is a generational. It's going to take hold of your descendants and then their descendants, and then you gonna come back around. It's gonna take hold of you, and then the cycle continues until your Howard Shah comes back, man. You would normally think like stuff would die down since it was, some years ago. But
Yeah, I could
uh
just imagine, Jacob talking to his sons right before he passing. That was a
uh
solemn time. It wasn't like good news that he was passing around.
right. Yep. Yeah, you said between Malachi 2 or Deuteronomy.
Malachi 2.
Malachi 2 and 8 now. It says, "But ye are departed out of the way, ye have caused many to stumble at the law, ye have corrupted the covenant of Levi, saith Yahweh of hosts.
Right? Because
Therefore,"
again,
uh,
our people were burning incense to the Lord. Now they burning incense to devils.
yeah,
All right? Because remember, Levi, so-called Haitians, they were first, well, of course, we know they was in the land and they got scattered to Africa. And then, they came over here. However, you must understand that being amongst them fucking Hamites, our people picked up a lot of them wicked ass ways as we read before. That voodoo, a lot of that shit is mixed in with the African culture, which we're not Hamites, but our people being um, followers, follow a lot of their customs, and here we are today.
right. And the thing is, like, I remember you was telling me before, you go to a different island or something like that. You will, people go down there on vacation, stuff like that. But you trying to escape your hell, going into their hell. 'Cause they, it's just think about it like somebody coming from a different country to your country, to live good. But meanwhile, you at hell, you still working and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
etc. But verse 9, therefore have I also, Malachi 2:9, therefore have I also made you contemptible and base before all the people. That's, you can see that, how that affects Levi now. According as ye
Poor.
have not kept my ways, huh?
Now you got. I was trying to find that part where it says that Haiti's like the poorest country in that region, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It says, according as ye have not kept my ways, but have been partial in the law. You know. What you wanted to share something?
Oh yeah, just this point, where it says, thus since 1804, many wars, massacres, border disputes, and standoffs have occurred between the two countries. Haiti would eventually become the poorest country in the region, and that just backs up the point you have brought out, or the scripture you brought out, in regards to um how Haiti would be base, or
Oh yeah, yeah.
the priest would be base among all the people.
Can't see the brother showing the picture. See, yeah, mud cakes and stuff like that, man. You know, it's it's a lot. You know,
Like damn Ethiopia, them hungry them starvation videos where they show the Ethiopians skinny as hell.
yeah,
That's what they try to make Jake look like.
yeah. In the arms of
Even
the
the Lord
angel.
did that to himself.
You know, they got that slow ass music playing too. You know,
Esau's such a faggot though. You know that money don't be going to them. He
how?
pocketing that shit.
But they still in the same condition.
Exactly.
Like how? You
How
know,
you raise all these billions of dollars and they still in this 10 years later, you still paying this commercial.
that's like you giving money to somebody to go do something with it specifically. Say you told them to go like invest it or whatever, or to go buy you something. Say you gave them like I don't know, couple thousand, and you go you tell them to go use it for this, that, or third. Then you see them walking around with all this fly clothing on or whatever. You know, it's like, wait, what are you doing with the money? It's like the same thing here. You know, money stuff he's still trying to raise for them, making you think that he doing that for them. It ain't helping them. You know, to this very day, you still got gang violence over there. Remember a couple months ago they was talking about gang wars over there and stuff like that. You know, down in
Or
Haiti.
they stormed the Capitol, I believe. They took
Yep,
over the Capitol, if I'm not mistaken.
yep, yep. Con. Um, I
Yeah, man, but
continue.
that was pretty much it. You write down to verse 7.
Yeah, yeah. Damn, brother. Salaki.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, say repeat what you had said again.
It's all good. I'll finish off. No, I was actually read down to verse 7, but I got it here. I'll start at 5. Um, you can hear me out?
Yeah.
All right, but it says verse 6, the law of truth was in his mouth, and iniquity was not found in his lips. Let me start at verse will you stop that out?
I read down to verse 9.
Oh shit. All right, bet. So I mean, you know, our people are beautiful people, but they they created a grave transgression by not following the Lord or walking away from the Lord. So the Lord essentially walked away from you. And as it is written, I will see what your end shall be. What's that, Deuteronomy 32? Where the Lord is pretty much being facetious. Our end is going to be bad. And i.e., here we are today. Here we are today, 2024 AD, hoping to get out of here. Here we are today, where this devil is trying to push a deeper slavery on the four corners of the earth, including you tribes. Hell, first starting off with you tribes, I might add, if I might say. But yeah, man. With that, you had anything else out? If not, I'm gonna just end it.
I'm gonna go into that last verse, Deuteronomy 33.
What,
That's
Deuteronomy 33 and 11?
yeah.
All right, you got it. Get
All
all the
right.
meat off the bone.
Deuteronomy 33 and 11. Bless Yahweh his substance and accept the work of his hands. Smite through the loins of them that rise against him, and of them that hate him, that they rise not again. And this is short, talking about the Haitian Revolution, which was led by Toussaint L'Ouverture. I'm saying that right, right? But Haitian victory. You know what? I'm gonna just read this part here. All right. It says Toussaint L'Ouverture. Um, Go right to the point. I'll just read these last two paragraphs real quick. By 1801, the Overture had conquered the whole island, extending abolition to the Spanish Santo Domingo. It embarked on a program of modernization in 1802, and the Overture promulgated an autonomous constitution for the colony and stated himself as governor for life over the whole of Hispaniola. Napoleon, so became governor over the whole island. Napoleon Bonaparte took this as an effort, as an affront to French control of the island, and L'Ouverture was arrested and deported to France. He died in prison in 1803. The Haitian Revolution continued under his lieutenant Jean-Jacques uh, Dessalines, from saying that right, who declared independence for the sovereign nation of Haiti in early 1804. The Haitian Revolution and the actions of Toussaint Louverture led to the establishment of the first sovereign state in Latin America, challenging the European colonial order. The Haitian Revolution inspired other national and Creole revolutions across Latin America. You know, and they so when the scripture says, "Smite through the loins of them that rise against him, and of them that hate him," that those the ones that rose against and hated Levi was talking about the French. All right, they got taken down. All right, by the Haitians. The Haitian Revolution. Okay, Jake rose up, and so and this is a picture of Toussaint Louverture right here. You know, and I'm just trying to fast track it real quick. Top.
Hey, that goes to show you, man, that it's really the Lord that allows us to be taken down.
Yeah.
Because
Look,
here it
he
is,
about
this
to
devil.
kill this nigga. You got it.
I was gonna say this devil, he has in a mind that he's better than us, he's stronger than us. But the Lord will allow, various instances in history, like we're reading now. You had Nat Turner and various Haitian, various Haitian, various slave rebellions. Which now I'm thinking about, a lot of them might have been Levi, but
Mm-hmm.
that's just my speculation.
And then
But
I just want to read Salaki. You got it.
no, that was it. I was gonna say, like, the Lord, man, the Lord is allowing us. The Lord allowed us to be taken down, man. But don't think
Yeah.
it's because of your own power.
Right. And real quick, just to show, real quick, right? Um, In a letter to, I'm gonna jump around this paragraph and show one more thing. In a letter to John Jacques Dessalines, Toussaint outlined his plans for defeating the French using scorched earth, which this is a tactic where pretty much you sabotage the enemy, you burn their stuff. She is a military strategy of destroying everything that allows an enemy military force to be able to fight a war, including the deprivation and destruction of water, food, humans, animals, plants, any kind of tools and infrastructure. So they sabotaged. That was one part of his plans. It says, "Do not," and this is a quote. "Do not forget while waiting for the rainy reason which will rid us of our foes, that we have no other resource than destruction and fire. Bear in mind that the soil bathed with our sweat must not furnish our enemies with the smallest sustenance. Tear up the roads with shot, throw corpses and horses into all the foundations, burn and annihilate everything in order that those who have come to reduce us to slavery may have before their eyes the image of the hell which they deserve." Dessalines never received a letter
Damn.
he had already taken to the field, evaded a French column sent to capture him and stormed uh, Leogan.
Lebanese.
The Haitians burned down Ligonnais and killed all of the French, with the Trinidadian historian C.L.R. James writing of Dessalines' actions at uh, Ligonnais. So now he taking account of what happened. Men, women, and children, indeed all the whites who came into his hands, he massacred and forbidden burial. He left stacks of corpses rotting in the sun to strike terror into the French detachments as they toiled behind his flying columns. The French had been expecting the Haitians to happily go back to being their slaves, as they believed it was natural for blacks to be the slaves of whites, and were stunned to learn how much the Haitians hated them for wanting to reduce them back to a life in chains. A visibly shocked General
Man.
Pamphile de la Croix, after seeing the ruins of Ligonnais, wrote, "They heaped up bodies which still had their attitudes. They were bent over, their hands outstretched and beseeching. The ice of death had not affected the look on their faces. So
Damn.
there's that. And then,
Whew, curse be the anger.
man, I'm telling you. And then, oh wait, hold on.
That's
Down
some
here it
good
says,
information right there.
during the battle, Toussaint personally took part in the fighting to lead his men in charges against the French. After losing 800 men, Toussaint ordered a retreat, but then just Haitian victory. Um, uh, however, um, you know what? I'm just going to this part. This was the next part I wanted to show. Not all of this, all right, but it just says influence on slavery in Americas, and I believe because I was just researching, I didn't look too much into it. But I believe news had gotten something along the lines of Esau didn't want Jake to know about it in the states, you know, to
Oh
talk
yeah, because
about
they
it.
already knew Jake was gonna rebel over here
Yep,
too.
yep. Uh,
The only
let me
thing
just
keeping Jake asleep is fucking his lies. Well,
yep. But see now the lies is broken, so now
yeah.
that's why he's about to come down with great wrath, man, because he lost. He lost already. You know, he's losing his grip on power, and he's losing his mental slavery. You know, he's losing. He's losing, man.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is out now. All right, and we already we woke up. So this man is done. Says historians continue to debate the importance of the Haitian Revolution. David Gegas asks, how much of a difference did it make? A limited amount, he concludes, for slavery flourished in the Western Hemisphere for many more decades. In the opposing camp, African American historian W.E.B. Du Bois said that, the Haitian Revolution was an economic pressure without which the British Parliament would have not accepted abolitionism as readily. Uh, oh, other historians say the Haitian Revolution influenced slave rebellions in the U.S. as well as well as in British colonies. All right.
But that was
um.
I wonder because you remember you ever seen that movie Emancipation with Will Smith?
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Remember he was a Levite.
Yep.
Well, he played a Levite in the movie.
Yep.
He was a proud man.
Yep. Oh, we read right here. It says the American president Thomas Jefferson, who was a slaveholder himself. So even on Wikipedia, it's telling you that Thomas Jefferson had slaves. These are your founding fathers. All right. It says refused to establish diplomatic relations with Haiti. The United States did not recognize Haiti until 1862. It says and imposed an economic embargo on trade with Haiti that also lasted until 1862 in an attempt to ensure the economic failure of the new republic, as Jefferson wanted Haiti to fail, regarding a successful slave revolt in the West Indies as a dangerous example for American slaves. You see,
Ooh.
so they wanted Jake down. All right, they wanted Jake down, man. But you know,
Hey,
for
again,
Jake to break out of slavery, that would have went against prophecy. You got it.
and remember Deuteronomy was at 28. And he that is above thee shall get above thee very high, and thou shall be very low. So Esau had to keep that stigma that you niggas ain't you niggas is weak, you know. Meanwhile, they had their lies, you know. Meanwhile, in their mind, they understood that we were very strong.
Right here it says the exiles causing the most alarm were the African slaves who came with the refugee owners. I believe talking about people who came to the U.S. It says some southern planters grew concerned that the presence of these slaves who had witnessed the revolution in Haiti would ignite similar revolts in the United States. Other planters, however, were confident they had the situation under control. See? And it's a lot more history. You know, in this Haitian flag meaning, right? This is the Haitian flag right here. Okay, let me just put the picture up. All right, you see it right there. Okay, now it says over here, um, The flag's blue and red colors represent the unity and solidarity of Haiti's diverse ethnic groups, particularly the black and mulatto population, etc., etc. Coat of arms. The flag's central coat of arms features a trophy of weapons and a royal palm tree. Weapons represent the people's freedom. Palm tree symbolizes Haiti's political independence and agricultural roots. All right. Um, the flag's underside features, but Slovakia adoption. The flag was first adopted in 1806, 2 years after Haiti won independence from France. So you see, so back to the scripture, Deuteronomy 33 and 11. Bless Yahweh his substance and accept the work of his hands. Smite through the loins of them that rise against him, and of them that hate him, that they rise not again. So there you have it. That's talking about the Haitian Revolution. You know, so this was breakdown of the tribes of Simeon and Levi. You know, brother here with me. GMS Watch and Pray. Subscribe to this channel as well. Ak, you got anything else?
Nah, man. You brought it home. Definitely brought it home, man.
Wait, man. That Lord was edifying. I want to give all the praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh.
Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem,
Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, every well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. Shalom to the elect.